Inferno's Hold, A Tale of Demonic Possession. The game was called Inferno. It was an underground release that had been circulating through the gaming community for a few months. No one knew who had made it, or how it had been distributed, but it had quickly gained a reputation as the most terrifying game ever created. It was said that the game was cursed, and that anyone who played it would be possessed by a demonic entity. Some people claimed that they had seen the game's main character, a demon named Diablo, appear in their dreams. Others said that the game had caused them to hear voices and see things that weren't really there. Despite the warnings, I was curious. I had always been a fan of horror games, and this one seemed like it would be the ultimate test of my nerves. So, I downloaded the game and started playing. At first, everything seemed normal. The graphics were rough and pixelated, but the gameplay was smooth and engaging. But as I made my way through the levels, I started to feel like I was being watched. The music, which had originally been ominous but not overly frightening, became more and more sinister. The demon, Diablo, seemed to leer at me from the screen, his eyes glowing with a malevolent light. I tried to shake off the feeling and focus on the game, but it was no use. The voices in my head became louder and more insistent, urging me to do things that I knew were wrong. I couldn't resist their pull, and soon I found myself acting on their commands. I began to see things in the real world, too. Shadows that seemed to move on their own, and a presence that seemed to be always just out of sight. I knew that I was in trouble, but I couldn't stop playing. The game had a hold on me, and I couldn't escape its grasp. As the days went by, I became more and more isolated. I stopped going to school and stopped seeing my friends. I spent all of my time playing Inferno, losing myself in the twisted world of the game. And all the while, the demon Diablo seemed to be watching me, waiting for the right moment to strike. One night, I woke up to find Diablo standing at the foot of my bed. His eyes were glowing with an otherworldly light, and his mouth was twisted into a sinister grin. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. The demon reached out with long, clawed fingers and touched my forehead. And in that moment, I knew that I was lost. I was possessed by the demon, and there was no turning back. I spent the rest of my days in a state of frenzied madness, lashing out at anyone who tried to help me. And all the while, the game of Inferno continued to play in my head, driving me further and further into the darkness. As for the game itself, it disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. No one knows what happened to it, or where it came from. Some say that it was the work of the devil himself, and that anyone who played it was doomed to be possessed by a demonic entity. But I know the truth. The game was real, and the demon Diablo was all too real. And now, I am doomed to spend eternity as his pawn, trapped in the twisted world of Inferno. The end. Like and subscribe.